Hello and welcome to TrapGamez. I'm Daan, and today I want to show you something random I did in Kerbal Space program. Now first I have to say this is a post-commentary video. Usually I don't want to do this kind of stuff because I don't feel like it's real, but how the circumstances went, I did not record any commentary or vocals and didn't feel like I could do it either. However, I still want to show you what I did, so I will be doing post commentary. I apologize for this, and I will hope to do in the future more commentary on the while actually playing the game. Now, what is happening? I wanted to go to Duna with a rocket to just land. It was just a random mission I wanted to do, and what happened was I wanted to try to slingshot myself using the moon to increase my speed to get to Duna. Now I noticed that I could really come close to the moon, and I actually wanted to see how close I can get without actually hitting the moon. So that is what we're actually gonna see. So let's start the video. Here I'm showing off where I'm starting and what my plan of orbit is. If we just warping time here, because it's still gonna take some time before we actually get to the moon. It's quite long, and this is really clumsy of me, but I always overshoot. I gotta stop to do that. There you can see me adapting the orbit, so my orbit will be going on the right side of the moon. As it is now, it goes through the left side. What I didn't actually know was I was actually full frontal going on to the moon, and as you can see, this is what I mean with the slingshot. It really cost me really not much fuel to actually escape everything, because of the moon actually putting all of my momentum into a different angle, which causes me to actually escape Earth, or sorry, Kerbal, as it's called in the game. As you can see, it's a bit spazzing out. I think it's just on the edge of actually getting onto the moon and actually going around. And actually I didn't see it here. What I'm showing here is that it looks like it's going around the moon, but actually I'm full frontal on, because the actual moon is bigger than the icon, and I thought the icon was as big as the moon. So that was a misjudgment of me. So I can do English. Well, again, seeing as I'm doing warp good this time, I'm coming in, and here I first notice actually I'm gonna go hit the moon full frontal. And this is actually not what I want. I just want to just miss it, and actually succeed in doing so by just adjusting, making a maneuver and adjusting it, and also putting it back horizontal, because if you go around like a planet and slingshot yourself like this, you actually get so the crystal body you're going around to use a slingshot will also amplify your angle of income. So if you come in at an angle of 0.1 angle too far off, it will actually boost that by just a few. I don't know the exact calculations, but it's around that. And I'm also not sure why you can slingshot yourself. I do want to look it up. Do want to look the math behind it, because I think it can be interesting to look it up sometime. But for common knowledge, it doesn't work like the momentum you have. If you have length times the force, you get a really big momentum. That's the opposite when orbiting. The less force you need over a longer distance from the planet. That's also the reason why we have trouble actually getting into space. If you want to be really close around the Earth, you have to have a speed of 2000 meters per second in game, and in real life that's about 27,000 kilometers an hour, I believe. And that's just a few kilometers above the atmosphere, and that's just to stay in orbit. However, if you look more at the moon, at the speed the moon has around the Earth, that's a much lower. And that's the thing. That's the thing I'm talking about. The farther you go, the less sideways momentum you need, or force, to actually stop yourself from falling into the planet, the celestial body you're orbiting. Sorry for my English, by the way. But also, if you're going to a planet or to a celestial body, you actually gain speed because it's pulling on you with its gravitational force. That's what we also feel every day on Earth. That's what makes us able to walk on the ground and basically fall back to Earth. Because if we didn't have that, we'd probably be somewhere very far away from Earth. Just imagine that. Don't think you will survive it, though. As you can see, I'm still trying to set as low as possible. It looks for me as if I can't really go any lower than 2 kilometers. Not sure if that's the actual, like when you showed there, it's the actual distance between the path and the actual object that is the moon, or if there is an, or if it's not really fitted right, like there is a space for 2 kilometers more. I also heard that the biggest mountain on the moon is about 2 kilometers, so going any lower than that is a bit risky, as you seem to be hicking it. And here we come closer. And here's the actual reason I didn't actually want to do post-commentary videos. Because at this point I'm starting to get nervous, because I'm getting close to an object with a lot of speed. 600 meters per second is a lot of speed. I can tell you that. Yeah. I'm just looking around here. What am I doing? Well, I'm trying to... Oh yeah, try to adjust here to actually look for a nice angle of income. Maybe look like a way I'm the less highest for the moon. Let's say you're not standing up straight and going over the moon like that, because if there's just one top part and you hit something with that, you're gonna spin out of control and lose a lot of speed and actually crash into the moon, or still escape the moon but not actually escape from Earth, and that's what I wanted. So as you can see here, I'm actually getting pretty close to the moon. I'm about 40 kilometers above, well 38, with a speed that has already increased to 800. It's about 200 more meters per second. That's, as you can see, it just really goes that far up. I really do like the ground actually going fast on you, and then the closer we get, the more you can actually see that effect. And I don't know what happened here, but suddenly my lowest point actually decreased to a very low point, and as you actually can see, it's inside the moon. So I actually thought the moon represents the real moon, so I gotta pick up my height, and that's what I did by just aiming at the moon and actually well, burning some fuel. And we're getting pretty close here to our lowest point. We're almost halfway. Well, we're 14 kilometers there. Ground is actually starting to render almost properly now, as you can see on the left. And let's see, just checking if I still have power. I don't want to be without power somewhere, though I got quite a big reserve. I'm just getting I just got nervous around this point, actually, you know, getting that close to the moon with that speed, because I'm going over 100 meters a second down, so to say. My altitude is decreasing with 100 meters a second. As you can see above, it has a little meter just on top that actually indicates how much altitude you're losing. And as you can see, it actually goes down to 0 and hopefully back up. That's what I hope. Now, you can't normally do this on Earth because we have the atmosphere that really slows you down, and since the moon has no atmosphere, you just can actually go around it and have no problem. Though the problem is that you don't want to get in contact with objects. And here actually you can see I'm getting so close, it's actually starting to render the ground in the individual squares which every planet is made of. And here I want to do something reckless. I'm going to turn it upside down because I thought, hell, if I'm going to hit something, I'm going to hit it full head on. So it will kill me in one time and probably survive everything. Or at least they won't have to suffer that much. Now in just a moment you will see I will gonna look for an in view. Yeah, here. You can actually see the ground just flashing under me. It's just, if this was real, my god, how would you feel? It would be like with an F-16, I think, flying over the ground with Mach 2. It's about, you have to multiply 800 by 3.6 and you have kilometers an hour. So that's about 2100 kilometers per hour. That's quite fast. I think that's even almost Mach 3. And here I'm going back up, as you can see. I'm actually gaining altitude, and this was really a point. I'm relieved. Now, I also decided to keep on filming and actually just film the whole episode of me getting to Duna, because I'm really I want to see if I can do more things like this, if things more like this happens, and the things I actually do to get there. There are sometimes I really do fail, and sometimes I think this can be useful for other players out there to know, or share experience, because this really isn't the game you can master in one day without being taught. If you're actually gonna play this, you have to put some time in it, because it's a game that requires some experience, not skill but experience. You gotta know from, if that's gonna happen, I gotta do that, or I can mix this. And here we have a beautiful sunset on the moon, on warp, and I'm actually trying to go as fast as out of here and quickly to Duna. And as you can see, I escaped the moon, and here I'm gonna escape the Earth. And let's see. And we're outside of the Earth. And I'm looking for Duna. And also checking my own. As you can see, I have a really big distance on the left side on my Apple Web System, or the farthest point in my orbit around the sun. And that's actually what I wanted to achieve. I'm not sure if it actually worked, because I haven't tested with the same aircraft if I could get to Duna without actually requiring the same amount of fuel, or the leftover fuel that I had, because I had quite some fuel left, actually, I have to say. So as you can see here, I'm planning to extend my farthest point, my lowest point, to be my highest point in the orbit, hoping to actually get close to Duna. And adjusting, because again the moon didn't amplified my error in orbit. That was a bit, how do you call, I forgot how do you call it, how much it tilted it was. I'm adjusting that, because the moon, if you're going to slingshot yourself, you're gonna force and amplify that error up to even more, and that's what I'm trying to correct here. Though even 0.1 degrees is not much, actually. And if you actually remember me talking just a little bit earlier back about how little force you need at a really big distance, the same thing is with here. You only see that I need just 752 meters per second extra to actually get up to the right speed to actually enhance my orbit by a lot. So the further you are from the sun, the easier it gets to actually make your orbit bigger, and that's just because it doesn't cost you that much force to stay there. If you actually look at speeds of Joule and all the other farthest out planets, they're really big, and if you look on the insides on Moho, I believe, and Eve, their orbit speed is really big. I mean, the Earth is going around at 9,000. I believe Ju was around 4,000 or something. Let's see. Here I'm just burning, and then I'm actually a bit disappointed by the engine, because the engine actually doesn't have that much power. And I actually noticed there is a second engine, which is actually meant for the smaller components. That actually has the same output as this motor, but uses only 1.9 and 0.9 from the liquid fuel and the oxidizer, while this engine takes around 0.5 and 0.6. You can see it on the top right between the brackets. I don't think you call them brackets. I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. You can actually see 5.17. That's actually the fuel consumption. And so if I actually take out this motor and replace it with the other motor, you get a bit of instability while launching, because it's a smaller and weaker motor. However, this motor just seems to fit more with the whole rocket. Has a better aesthetic, I guess, to the rocket. And here I'm extending. I'm just looking how much farther I'd go. I'm actually checking my tilt, and actually was 0.0. Not sure what's behind the last 0. It could be 0.09 or something. But how much do you actually need, you know? Do you really have to have that big of a tolerance on your tilt? And do I actually quite notice that even with 0.1 degrees, you actually have a hard time hitting the planet, because you're almost just on its gravitational pull, which is here simulated by the escape and the entry. Sorry, the entry. And here I'm finding the one place I'm actually gonna intersect with Duna. As you can see, those two light blue arrows they're getting closer at the moment. They are the closest distance I'm actually ever going to meet Duna. So the closer you get them, the closer you get to the point where you will meet up with Duna and actually have an interaction with him, and you will actually entrance his gravitational field and hopefully also stay there. As you can see later, I'll actually find a different point which doesn't cost as much as fuel, and I actually did take that point, but it was a bit of finding around. And here you can see I'm actually just playing with the meshes to actually get into that orbit. I actually wanted to move the orbit more to where my spacecraft is at the moment, but the problem is as soon as you do that, it doesn't really apply, because I wanted to go first at full round to actually catch up with Duna. Sorry. So here you can see I'm speeding up to create some more room until I meet with Duna. Because I'm focused on the actual aircraft and I'm dragging the maneuver behind me, you get a much more accurate depiction where Duna is at the moment, or simulation where it is. And here you can see I actually found it, the first point I wanted to go through and actually aim for. Still costs a little bit much on actual getting to that power. So here I skipped, press pause and unpause on recording, and here I'm actually in front of that maneuver at the moment I'm gonna do. Nice and easy. As you can see, I have now a speed of 8,000 and the Earth has about 9,000, so you actually can see I've lost a lot of speed at the moment. And I also see I'm actually under my predicted orbit. Oh, that's strange. Not sure if that's a render glitch or if that's the actual path. Because I do notice there is sometimes an error in actually rendering those paths. They seem to be too high or something. Or you're just right inside of them and you see the insides, but I'm not sure what goes wrong. So here I speed up, trying to burn those 600 meters per second. And yeah, there you saw, just for a brief second you saw a purple line, which was the line I wanted to aim, what the actual intersection was, and I was actually gonna aim for that. So in a moment you'll see me cut down the power and actually turn the ship around. Yeah, here I'm turning the ship around, and then I'm gonna pull back. I'm gonna try to slow myself down just enough to again meet up with Duna. Not sure where the point was. I just really burned slow because you don't want to overshoot it again, because that would be a waste of the fuel you would be saving up. And here you see I'm actually gonna try to predict it, where it is. Didn't really work out. Tried to delete it, but something is not working. Oh yeah, I couldn't click it. It gave me the delete button every time. Sorry, I recorded this yesterday. I'm now commentating it the day after. And here you can see that little bit of burn I'm making. Just really slowing myself down to actually get into Duna. And we're about to burn enough. Let's see. Come on. Where's Duna? And we still haven't found Duna. It's there though. Yeah, there it is. And there we'll go. Deleting my maneuver. Just warping myself. I believe there's gonna be another jump cut real soon. Jumping myself until I'm around Duna. And this is even the fastest warp there is, and it even is gonna take that much time, and that's why I usually jump cut it. Here you can see actually just under the ship you can see a little red dot, and that's Duna. And it's a little red dot with two white surfaces, which are its poles. Not actually sure if it's just lighter sand or if it's actually ice, as they put it in the texture. There you can see Duna at my distance. And I'm trying to slow down so we'll get into orbit with Duna, enable me to actually crash into Duna and use my landing gear to actually get there. I'm using 4 parachutes since Duna has an atmosphere. Really low though, it's on the around sea level, it's about 0.8 bar, I believe, from the actual atmosphere. No, just 80% of the normal bar of Earth. I believe they have reference their pressure meter against what is on Kerbal. Not sure though. I'll have to look it up sometime. And here you can see my orbit almost, creating. Now it's quite the ellipse around Duna with quite the tilt. And this is actually, even with the really small error I'm supposedly had, you get this really big error, and that's really hard for me at least to actually get inside. So I wanted to really have a shallow approach to Duna to actually get a lot of drag by the atmosphere. So I'm actually gonna slow down a lot using the atmosphere, because I one time noticed just going straight at Duna with parachutes is a bad idea, because you don't have that much atmosphere to actually break in. And so I actually had about 3 kilometers, I still had 500 meters per second of speed to actually go at, and that was just ridiculously a lot. Now I noticed here, this craft has a satellite on the front, which I can deploy and leave somewhere behind, and actually remembered I had to put this in orbit around Duna, so I'm gonna put myself again in somewhat of an orbit, like so. You really just saw, with just that little bit of fuel, I got in a really big orbit, or at least increased my orbit with it really a lot. That's not something we can do on Earth because of the atmosphere and the sudden speed increase that we need. So here I'm preparing my very small satellite. It has two instruments, a Gravimax, which measures the gravitational pull, and an accelerometer, and a dish and satellites, making it somewhat look like an actual satellite. I'm ashamed the instruments don't actually put the information somewhere like in a graph or something. And also with the communication, I actually had played with a mod some time ago, which was a really great mod. I do hope it gets updated, but you had the thing was, you also had unmanned vessels, and if you actually wanted to control one, you would need communication between you and the Earth, between NASA, or with close to another control system, and by default that would be the Kerbal Space program. So I'm saying goodbye to the satellite here. But the thing is, to get actually control things farther, it actually has a bigger reaction time. It actually simulates it. If you, like, say, go to the right, it actually has a really big delay because the signal has to be sent from Earth to, let's say, Jewel, and you have a satellite there flying around that you're controlling. You know, that takes away something from your reaction power if something goes wrong. So you really either have to be really careful if you have to have a manned control station nearby to actually control it. And the thing is, those signals can also be blocked by different planets, so you also have to have all different kinds of satellite networks around you to actually be able to operate all these things. And it was just great because there was also a lot of planning inside. You know, if I want to go there, I need satellites there and there to actually be able to communicate with Earth and actually be able to control everything. So I really do hope that they're gonna implement something like that for the unmanned probes. It would seem really cool. And here we actually are approaching Duna, and I don't know what happened, but it seemed like we clipped through Duna. And as you can see, we're on a escape path from Duna. I have no idea what happened, but I'm gonna slow myself down. Oh, and here I actually then clicked on the satellite, and I'm gonna rename it to actually the Duna satellite. Having a bit of problem of typing there. There we have our satellite. I accidentally, after I was done recording, I went to see the satellite, and I accidentally clicked on end flight, so I also lost that satellite. And yes, I just spoiled that I'm not gonna crash. They survived, but I made some errors which weren't really planned. I lost most of my bases under my command module because of the suddenly stopping of the command module. It actually rips apart those things. And here you can actually see me slowing down, and I'm actually seeing the moon from Jewel, I believe, in the distance, which are the really nice icons. Here I'm trying to slow down and also checking on my fuel if I have enough fuel to slow down. And there I come back. And I didn't want to waste any more fuel because I wanted to use the fuel actually to slow down in Duna, because Duna doesn't have that great of an atmosphere to actually slow down. And I've gone into this really tilted path, and I probably didn't have enough stuff to actually fuel to actually get back in a normal orbit. So I was just gonna orbit like this, thinking it's all gonna go okay. So we're getting close, not trying to overshoot, and no clip through Duna. Let's see, I'm getting close there. I'm actually surprised I didn't get into the gravitational pull of Ike, I believe. Here I'm actually trying to put a maneuver down on the planet to actually see how much time I have left before I actually get back to Duna. And here you can actually see. Actually accidentally set my target with the satellite, which I didn't mean to. And there you see me put down the maneuver. This always helped me warp, because the pep warps it. So the lowest point in your orbit disappeared in Duna and is actually unrendered because of that. Trying to look from the inside. And the camera system was a bit strange. I really do like this chase, that you can turn around with your rocket. And it has a bit more, gives nicer views like this. Really did like that view. But also your orientation with docking, for example, if you're gonna dock, this is really useful. And my god, docking is one of the most difficult things I've ever done in this game. I actually almost rage quit it twice. And here I'm transferring fuel again. I got these really small side boosters on the lowest tank. As you actually can see, this is meant to get my speed down as much as possible. And now, hoping I will actually land on Duna, I'm gonna dispatch the really big tank on the other side, turning off the light, preparing myself to actually land on Duna by retracting the solar panels, because the solar panels do not like re-entry under a great speed. I don't know if you ever see the developer's video of one of the developers of Kerbal Space program who actually crashed a space station with extended solar panels, and was really nice to see, because every panel of the solar panel actually came loose and started flying off. And in the next patch they will actually have the shaders that will simulate the burning in the atmosphere. And also they showed some pictures of, I believe, burning solar panels, so that looked really good on the crash shot. I'm not sure if that's a good thing to be happy about or not, but it's gonna bring some realism to this game, even more to this game. And yeah, I'm just waiting to actually get in contact with the atmosphere of Duna and checking the top bar for it actually to lower where the atmosphere says. And we're still going down. 12,000 meters per second. It's quite fast. Sorry about that. An unset target. And here you can see actually the light coming up from the atmosphere I'm starting to enter. And there I dumped that piece of fuel tank. Don't need that extra weight pulling me down. And here I have all those tiny little rockets, and I'm just trying to adjust myself to actually come completely flat with my bottom on the atmosphere, for hopefully what is maximum slowing down. Here are the parachutes. I got 4 of them, and as you can see I still have about 5 kilometers, and it's going really fast. And I just panicked, and I saw videos of people actually throwing out their people, and actually they bounced off and lived, and I died. I don't know what it is. People live by bouncing, and I crashed on them. So I actually noticed the actual command module actually survived, but it had lost all of its solar power panels, most of its batteries. So it was pretty much doomed. I'm really sad about it, and I'm actually gonna retry this flight again, maybe with commentary this time, to actually see if I can get to Duna and actually land well this time. So turn on the lights to see. Looking around me, I got these lights on top, and I'm warping, trying to see the consumption, the electric use of lights, and they're not much, but you know, I'm trying to spare everything. So here you see me actually saying they're doomed. Maybe I gotta rescue them. I think that might be nice. Actually bring them a better base. I think that would be a really nice mission to do. Maybe that's the next episode. Maybe we'll just try to rescue them. That will be nice. Quite the mission to do, I think. So I'm here trying to extend the antenna with the thought of, hey, now they can call Mace Mission and say they're doomed. Or what I actually wanted to say, they're effed. So here I'm turning on my instruments, actually looking what it is. Pressure, gravitational pull, temperature, and I'm actually gonna get them out of their pods and actually put them around their command module to actually use their headlights to work as a sort of beacon. I guess I can use that because they're still standing there, I believe, and with a bit of luck I can actually use that to actually see where they are. It's a really strong headlight though. And here you see me failing actually getting on top of the lander. I actually got stuck in the ground like it's a big pile of sand. And me failing some more. I was hitting the spacebar for some reason to get up and to use the I think on Minecraft flying. So I'm here standing, trying to light up a part of the ground. You see me trying to get the second person out of the command pod. And I have no idea what he is doing at the moment, but I'm sure it's not okay. And nope, I got boarded. And yeah, that was about it. Not much has happened after that. As I said, I ended the flight on my satellite. Unfortunate. And that was it. I hope to see you next time, and maybe we'll rescue these guys, give them an actual proper base. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.